What's up, guys? Today we're going to check out Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga on 4K UHD. I'm not here to talk about how good or bad the movie is, I'm just going to share some thoughts on the audio and video quality. Now let's go over a few tech specs. The movie was shot in 6.5K, it's got a 4K DI, it's rated R, runtime is 148 minutes, aspect ratio is 239:1, and the audio is in Dolby ATMOS. Before we take a look at the audio and see how active this mix is, if you don't know what the ATMOS viewer is, you can find a link down below in this video's description that tells you all about it, what it does, and where to get it. You can also find a list of all the gear that I use for these 4K reviews down there as well. As you can see, here at 1 minute 41 seconds in, you'll hear flies all around the room flying through every speaker possible while a flock of birds fly overhead. It's a spacious sounding scene and makes you feel like you're out in the woods. Here at 22 minutes in, there's a few gunshots that happen towards the back left side of the room, which feels like it's coming from across the street. It's got a slight echo to it, which creates a wide extended rear stage. One scene that's a bit more subtle comes in at 47 minutes, which takes place inside the Citadel. On the left and right sides of the screen are these two huge engines or motors or something that's alternating through the left and right sides of the room. It's got this pumping mechanical sound effect, which you'll hear faintly in the background. There's a handful of these non-action moments that still have great surround usage from the lower and top channels. Of course, all the action scenes, which is basically the entire movie, is a top to bottom Atmos extravaganza. The bass response, just like in Fury Road, may cause neighbor-inducing panic because it can get pretty crazy. The explosions have body-blasting impact, and the engines from all the vehicles, whether it's a car, truck, or motorcycle, has an incredibly deep rumble that will shake your home's foundation. Now that said, going from this to Fury Road, I did notice that Fury Road is a few dB louder than Furiosa, but once you bump up the volume, everything still sounded insane. And thank you to Kaleidoscape for supplying me with this copy of Furiosa to bring you, the home theater movie-loving community, this 4K review. Now, if you're interested in grabbing a Kaleidoscape so you can get these movies weeks, sometimes months earlier than physical media, you can get one at our channel partner, Dream Media. Links can be found down below in the video's description. As for video quality, this looks similar to Fury Road, but not exactly the same. Fury Road has a much more grainier image, whereas Furiosa clearly looks like it was shot on a digital camera. I think there's a tiny bit of film emulation laid over the digital footage because there is a slight veil of grain which keeps the picture from looking too clinically clean. But make no mistake, it does look digital. This also has more refined detail, cleaner lines, sharper edges, so textures on costumes, on all the machinery, all has this very polished yet lived-in gritty feel to them. Not as gritty as Fury Road, but still dirty looking. The CG effects, like Fury Road, is very stylized, so there are plenty of shots where it looks like the characters are acting against a green screen. Many of the backgrounds are noticeably CG, but again, with the over-the-top action and acting, I found the CG worked well within the context of the movie. You might like it, you might not. As for the HDR, it's got a max CLL of 909 and a max FALL of 140, so it can get really bright in certain parts of the frame. Those specular highlights do have plenty of pop. As for the color palette, it's got the same warm look as Fury Road, with heavily saturated oranges, reds, browns, and yellows. The darker scenes are cooler, with blues, grays, and blacks, and I never found anything to be crushed in the shadows. Comparing Furiosa to Fury Road, the HDR isn't cranked to 11 on Furiosa. It's more controlled without being too hot and overly saturated. I personally liked the overly juiced up HDR in Fury Road, whereas I felt Furiosa did look very tame in comparison. But this did look exactly the same as when I saw it at the Dolby Cinema. It's clean, it has a ton of detail, and the HDR is bright and vibrant and will look great on your 4K display. I'm gonna go a 9.9 for video. For audio, again, this sounded the same as when I heard it at the theater, well, maybe a tiny bit better. If you got neighbors, be careful because the bass can get intense in this mix. It's a fully active Atmos mix with tons of top channel Atmos effects to give you that truly immersive sensation. It's a demo-worthy soundtrack from start to finish. I'm gonna go with a 9.9 for audio. Now this review was based on the Kaleidoscape version, so if you're holding out to see it on 4K Blu-ray, the Kaleidoscape version should either look the same or possibly better than the disc. So this should give you an idea of what to expect when it comes out on physical media. It also clocks in at 81.7 gigs, and yes, it does look better than the iTunes version. So what are your thoughts on the Furiosa 4K transfer? Do you like it better than Fury Road, and why didn't you see it at the theater? Shame on you. Leave a comment down below and let me know. Now, if you want to pick up this movie, I will leave some links for it down below in this video's description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you want, you can follow us on social media, and if you want to support the channel and get exclusive content or great discounts on audio and video gear, then stop by our Patreon page. Be sure to like this video if you found it useful, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you again in the next video.